good Sunday to you, and welcome to Lone Star Park at Grand Prairie. I'm Jim Byers alongside Rodney Nelson, Railbird Rodney, and it's time to analyze the 12-race card tonight on this Sunday, 6:05, the first post. More nice weather, warmed up quite a bit here at Lone Star Park, but it should be beautiful for the races tonight. I think, once again, some tough races on the card, Rodney, plus we have some distance races. We have two 550s, two 870s. So a lot to talk about today. Let's jump right into it. There is a pivotal scratch in race one. First-time starter Mooney's Bayou Babe, number 7 for Adrian Wheatrone. This horse was probably going to take some money. MPS Dash and Funny was, I think, most definitely going to be the favorite, and now will be a heavy favorite. But the 7, Mooney's Bayou Babe, is out of the first. 2-year-old fillies, maidens, $5,000 the tag.
All right, this first one's a good way to kick off the card tonight. We got a nice carryover in the Super High Five, $21,000 for this first race. So it would be nice if you could hit that at the first race of the night, set you good for the rest of the evening. Now, you were talking about MPS Dash and Funny probably going to be a big favorite. If you look up on the board right now, 1-9. I mean, of course, we still got an hour to go to post time. So, but all the early money seems to be on the number 10. I'm going to try to beat the 10 with the number 8, JP Stoley Cartel. You know, this horse has run 3 times. You know, doesn't really have a whole bunch of good things to show for it. I mean, all 3 of those times this horse has finished 4th. Last time it was in a maiden race. Is in here tonight for the $5,000 tag. If you look, this horse ran for the $20,000 tag 2 starts back, ran 4th in that race as well. I think dropping down in class is going to help out this horse quite a bit. Gets the Lasix for the first time. We'll see if JP Stoley Cartel can't pull an upset here in race number 1. I do have the 10 MPS Dash and Funny as my second selection. I would have put this horse number 1 if we would have seen Boomer Zoomer win last night. This horse ran
decent.
Ran decent, but
yeah.
If Boomer Zoomer would have won, I would have put MPS Dash and Funny 1.
Yeah.
This horse ran 3rd. Right behind him last time. Boomer Zoomer finished 2nd in that race, so I do have the 10 as my second choice. And then for my third choice, I'm going with the number 2 horse, which seems to be the longest shot on the board right now, in Cruise On Cartel. This horse has had 4 races, all of them coming out in New Mexico at Ruidoso Downs. Has tried this 350-yard distance a couple times. Nothing to show for it, but I think those races out there were a little bit more tough. Dropping down into that $5,000 tag tonight, I think Cruise On Cartel at big odds could get up there and hit the board.
You know, I went ahead and went with the favorite in here. I was on the 10 all the way, but I did originally have Mooney's Bayou Babe as my second pick. But the reason I lean toward MPS Dash and Funny, I think her last race, even though it was at the $5,000 maiden claiming level, which is today's level, and it was against all comers, not just fillies, I thought it was a pretty good race. I mean, the Magic Ocean just looked like a really good thing that day for the level. Now, we haven't seen the Magic Ocean come back and run again, so we don't know if that was a fluke or not. And this horse was favored that day, burned a little money at 6-5. Didn't run horrendously, was well clear of the rest of the pack. Again, you know, it would have been nicer if Boomer Zoomer had run a little better last night, but Boomer Zoomer wasn't terrible last night. I mean, I think still ran a halfway decent 4th. I'm going to give MPS Dash and Funny one more try, mainly because I thought the race looked better than that higher-priced maiden special weight race that JP Stoley Cartel and Bellabet come out of August 1st. Actually, Bellabet doesn't come out of that race. JP Stoley Cartel does. Back on August 1st at Retama. It's a higher-level race. That's why JP Stoley Cartel could be really salty here, plus she's first Lasix. But I went 10-8-4. I throw Bellabet in there as a third pick for Brian Stroud, whose barn has started to heat up. By the way, the high 5 carryover in race 1, $21,078. Race 1 and race 12 tonight have that jackpot super high 5 wager. Fairly pivotal scratch out of the second race as well. The 4, Poker TLC, will not run. $20,000 claimer for non-winners of 2.
Yeah, I'm on the 3, One Slick Delight. 2 starts for this horse, both coming out at Ruidoso Downs. Last time was in a trial for the All-American. Was well beaten in that one. ran up against some good horses, of course. The debut for this horse just came back at the beginning of August. That was at 400 yards. Horse won that one by a length and 3/4. So this is going to be the shortest race of One Slick Delight's career. But I think that this filly can run well in this spot for Alonzo Neary. Second choice, I'm going with the number 2, An Older Soul. 4 starts for this horse. Last time out was at this 300 yards, won that race by half a length. That was at the Gillespie County Fairgrounds. And one note about Angel Sanchez, if you take a look at how he's done with 2-year-olds this year, he's won 12 of 29 2-year-olds races at a 40. That's 41% if my math is right. I wrote it down, so I hope it is. Checked it twice. 41% winner with 2-year-olds. Even though I got the horse second, might be one to watch here with that high percentage for the 2-year-olds. And then my third pick is going to be your number 6 in Leading the Game. This was a winner last time out at the $10,000 maiden claiming level. That came out here at Lone Star Park. Always like horses that can win on our track. It's going to step up a little bit to face winners for the first time. And for the $20,000 tag tonight, going to be a big hurdle to cross for Leading the Game. But, hey, if this horse can get up and hit the board, then, hey, my 3 picks are going to pay very handsomely here in race number 2.
I'm with you on One Slick Delight. Clearly a top pick in here. That All-American trial that she comes out of produced the fastest overall qualifier from all of those trials, more than 30 of them. Flashing my PJs. HR Princess Jess, the second-place finisher in that race, also qualified. Third-place finisher Riker is a really nice horse. Now, this horse was almost 7 lengths back of the winner at the end. That's a pretty wide margin, obviously, in this sport. But she was in it, and she was actually the 5th wagering choice out of 10 horses in the race at 16 to 1, meaning that, there were some horses that they regarded going in even less than her. I think that's even a positive sign. Certainly the career debut was very promising, so she's an emphatic pick. It's worth noting that Salvador Soto saddled her and trained her in New Mexico. Neary is getting her for the first time here today. He has very high percentages, though, first time out with a new horse. I went with Heavy Pedal, the 5, as a second pick. Had major start issues in a Dash for Cash trial here. Some of her other races have been fairly decent. I gave her a little bit of an edge over Leading the Game, who's my third pick. Let's move on. Third race, we start our hook racing, 870 yards. These are 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2 claimers.
Yeah, the first hook race of the evening. I've got the number 3, You Buy, I Fly V. This horse was a winner last time out, just on the 4th of October. So, 10 days ago? What's today? The 16th, maybe 12 days ago?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. But the horse did win at this distance, won about 3 3/4 of a length. I don't know. I think that You Buy, I Fly is going to have a good chance. Hope to put together back-to-back wins at this distance and here at Lone Star Park. So I do have the 3 as my top choice. Second choice, I'm going to go with the number 2 horse, Yes, I'm Blue. This was a winner last time out. This one came in the opening weekend of our meet out here. That was around this hook as well. Pretty much the same things like I was talking about for You Buy, I Fly V. Won at this distance on this track. I think there's a lot to be said for that, especially going around the hook here. And then I got the number 5, Pride of the Calvary, as my third selection here. This horse hadn't run in a year, but it has a decent record at the distance, has run 7 times at this 870, has a win, 2 seconds, and a third, so 5 out of 7 is finished in the money. Has a win and a second here at Lone Star Park, but like I said, this horse has been off for just about a year. We'll see if he can't come back tonight and have a good run.
I am completely with you on You Buy, I Fly V. I broke my unofficial rule on not liking horses stretching out from straight racing to hook racing first time out. I really don't like them first time around the turn, but this horse had done nothing but take part in Grade 1 trials, the Big Derby and Futurity trials at Ruidoso, and the Texas Classic trials here last year. Very mixed results, to say the least, but stretched out, won. Now he's proven that he can at least get the distance. I don't know if he beat much of a field 2 weeks ago, but I like him right back. He stretched out and loved it, I thought. So he's an emphatic pick for me. Yes, I Am Blue also stretched out from that unique Delta 770-yard distance to 880, or 870 rather, and won. So that's another good sign, I think, when they stretch out first time. I'm not always on their back sometimes, but not always. But I like it when they stretch out and win. And Justin Powell claimed this horse. I would guess, just from looking at it, like he thought that this horse could stretch out and win around the hook. Sure enough, he did for him. Bustum Bach is my third pick here, just because he's dropping out of non-winners and 2 allowance. Loose Stories is interesting to me. I only used her 4th. She's been off the bench since January. Picked up some checks. The biggest benefit for her is she has the rail. So let's move on to the 4th. We've got a video here. The horse that I'm picking, and Rodney is not picking this horse on top, but I am, is the one LJ Fastest Time. We're going to watch him in a race here from September 19th, if I can get to the right race, and I'm not sure I did. Is this September 19th? Yes,
yeah,
the 3. Watch the 3 horse here. Horse gets out pretty well, but watch how he finishes. We're watching the 3 here in the blue silks, 1 off the inside right now. Look how this horse finishes as they come to the finish. This horse really accelerates here the last 70 yards or so and holds his opponents at bay. I was really impressed with that race. That was in a state-bred $5,000 claimer, is right back now at the same level, and is in a non-winners of 3, and that was an open 5,000 claimer. Now is in against non-winners of 3. I thought that was an impressive finish, so I wanted to show it. So I'm right back on him, but I see you're going, though, with the 7 Timured Special, who's my second pick. So,
yeah, I mean, I like the 7. I mean, the 7 as of late has been running pretty well. I mean, 2 starts back, picked up a win at the $5,000 level. That race was a little bit shorter, but came back, ran 330 last time out at $7,500 non-winners of 3. Ran third in that one, just a half a length behind. Said he was bumped at the start as well. I think this horse gets out clean and puts together a repeat performance, and the 7 takes it. I got the 2 Miss High Hawks as my second choice. This horse was coming out of a starter optional claiming last time out. That was at 250 yards, but, go back and look at this horse, how the 2 times that this horse ran the 330-yard distance were pretty recent. You got June and August to look at. Had a win back in June at Delta Downs. Had a decent 4th last time, or the last time he tried 330 at Retama Park, or she tried 330 at Retama Park, just missing by a length. And then I got the number 1, your top choice, as my 3rd selection. Couldn't leave this horse out. I think there is a lot to like about that. And like you said, I mean, the horse had a strong finish in that race. The horse that finished second went on to win its next start out. Those are some definite things to like about LJ Fastest Time.
It seems a little contradictory, but in this sport, I basically look at 2 things: how they start and then the last 50 or so yards. I think a horse that finishes really full of energy, that's the best indicator. In this sport, thoroughbreds, Arabians, harness horses, for a good performance next time. If they finish full of energy, I like them right back. Also in this sport, I also look a lot at how they start, because obviously you're eliminated a half a second into a race in this sport if you don't get out well. LJ Fastest Time, to me, finished so full of run last time. That's why I took her. Timured Special comes out of a really nice race over this track. Miss High Hawks, very quick last time, kind of capitulated and backed out of it, but that was a much tougher field than she's going to face here today. But I'm going 1-7-2-4 in this one. Shake 'em Lilo is interesting there, because I think this horse is finally at a winnable level. On to the 5th. Race number 5 is a starter optional claimer around the turn at 870, 3-year-olds and up. The claiming tag is $10,000 if they choose to go for that. And there's other starter allowance conditions in effect.
Yeah, most of these horses in here have some pretty good experience at this 870-yard distance. I took the number 1, Dusty Boots and Luck. This is a horse that has been running out in New Mexico, had some races at Ruidosa, Sunland, Zia Park. 3 races this year for the horse. Nothing spectacular, but, has finished up there toward the front. Probably the best race came back in January, where he missed just by a length at this distance. I like having the rail on these 870-yard races. Of course, the shortest way around is on the inside. So I think that Dusty Boots and Luck, having some experience, 9 starts at this distance, has won 3 of them. Never has been out here, never has been on our track out here, but we'll see if the first time can't be lucky for Dusty Boots and Luck. Second choice is going to be the number 6 horse. That is Love to Zoom. You take a look back at this horse. This horse has been in some low-level stakes races, competing decent in those. I mean, you got to take a look back to 2019 to find a good string of them together. This horse has been out here at Lone Star 5 times, has a win, a second, and a third. 11 times at this 870, has 3 wins. Been in the money, 6 out of 11, so over 50% of the time this horse hits the board. I think you got to have Love to Zoom in there. And then my third selection is going to be the number 3, Aces over 5. If you count out that last race, this horse put together back-to-back wins. Of course, that spans over 2 years. I mean, November out here at Lone Star Park. Then the next win came in July in 2020. But won both of those races at this 870-yard distance. Has been in the money 4 out of 5 out here at Lone Star. I think that Aces over 5 is a logical play here in race number 5.
Yeah, there's a lot of 870 wins in the collective runners in this field. I went with the 4 Jack Kettle. It was about 3 or 4 years ago. This horse was going with the best 870s around, like Stoley's Pro and horses like that were the real upper echelon of the 870s. I don't think he's quite that anymore. And he certainly threw in a clunker in whatever sort of final that was at Gillespie on August 22nd. He was 7-10 and finished 5th out of 6. The races before that, though, or the race before that, I think it's worth mentioning. He beat some thoroughbreds, some fast thoroughbreds that we've seen here in a mixed race. Bold Capo was in that race. Zemore Aristocat, Free Music, all thoroughbreds that have run here at Lone Star in the shorter sprints. And Jack Kettle beat a bunch of them. You can see from his odds, I mean, he's typically below 2-1. I think he's going to be a formidable foe in here if he's even a shadow of what he used to be. Dusty Boots and Luck has been with a whole lot of different trainers, many of them with high win percentages. He's been in a lot of good barns. He's been at good company, and specifically in New Mexico and a little bit at Remington. He's the main danger. I think he's the one to beat. He also has a work here that wasn't in my PPs. Probably isn't in the program, might be in the form. October 14th at Lone Star, 220 and 12.22 breezing. My third pick's the 2 Hot Hand Man. This horse has been running fairly cheaply, but gets off the bench, has a good post, likes the distance. It's a really good race. A lot of contention in that one. Ahead to the 6th. We get to the halfway point on tonight's activities. 350 yards here, $10,000 claimer, and there's a scratch, somewhat pivotal, number 11 Brown Hoss.
Yeah, I ended up with the number 5 Daunting Task. Decent race last time out. That was at this level. Finished 3rd just by a length. The race before that was a non-winners of 3 allowance. The horse ran 4th in that one, missing just by a head. Go back to this first start of 2020 back in June. Won that race. So this horse has had a pretty good 2020 year with a win and a 3rd. This horse has a start at Lone Star that came back on our opening weekend. That was that 3rd place finish I was talking about. Has run this distance 3 times, has a 2nd and 2/3 to show for it. So I think Daunting Task can definitely be one to look at here in race number 6. I took the horse on the rail, First Prize Moya, as my second selection. A win 2 starts back. At Prairie Meadows. Actually, he's had a pretty good 2020 at Prairie Meadows with a 1st, a 3rd, and a 4th up there in Iowa. Hasn't run this 350-yard distance except for once. That came the 2nd start. That was last year back at Remington Park in a good allowance race. Some next out winners in that one. But I think First Prize Moya is going to be pretty good when he steps on the track out here in Texas for the first time. Third choice is going to be the horse on the outside. That's the number 12 for Ferrero Rocher TLC. A winner last time out that came just a couple weeks ago out here on our track. That was at 3:30. So I'm going to add another 20 yards on. Seemed to increase his lead as the race got going on. I think that this extra 20 yards is going to help out Ferrero Rocher TLC.
You know, I didn't know what to do with him. I went with Daunting Task as well. That was a really strong effort last time, and that was against non-winners of 3. Ferrero Rocher beat non-winners of 2. You know, I lean toward Daunting Task. I'm not going to lie. When I handicapped in the middle of the week, last weekend it was not advantageous to be way out on the outside. It's not that you couldn't win from out there. But it wasn't advantageous. It was more advantageous to be where Daunting Task was, and that's just the way the results came in. And it was that way for both days last week. And that's probably why I lean toward Daunting Task. Ferrero Rocher comes out of a really nice race. I mean, it was a non-winners of 2, a little lower level than Daunting Tasks, but it was a winning performance. It was a little bit better E-speed figure. And last night, horses were winning from outside with regularity, so there's really been no problem with winning outside. They don't win at nearly the highest percentage compared to the middle in. But so I went 5-12, and we'll see what happens. I think the 4 Toast of Money is one to consider here. This horse closed a fair bit of ground last time out, and I think that, again, horses that finish well are worth taking a second and third look at. On to the 7th. 7th race begins the 6-shooter, $2,464 in the carryover in that wager. Scratch the 7, She's a Real Bandita.
And I've got the number 5, Be True Dash, as my top choice here. 3 races for this horse, does have one over the track. Doesn't really have much to show for. That 4th was that most recent one was a 4th place finish, 3/4 behind. So not that big of a margin of defeat. I do something pulled me toward this horse today. I mean, Brian Stroud always has some decent horses when they step out on the track. He can definitely win some races, and I think this could be one for Be True Dash. Second choice, I'm going with the number 2 in Cool Mistress. A solid 3rd last time out by 3/4. It was in a 2:20 race. This horse has run the distance twice, has a second to show for it. That came back, last year before that. But I don't think this 330-yard distance is going to be a problem for this horse. She's been running further than that this year, a couple 350 races in Gillespie. And then I went with the number 1, Executive Dash Cartel, as my 3rd selection. First time to start for this horse for Cody McDaniel. I think she'll have this horse ready to go in a good spot. Comes in from Prairie Meadows, has never been here to Lone Star before, but we'll see how this horse does here in race number 7 in this maiden race. Seemed like there was a lot of other choices. I mean, it was a field of 11 with that one scratch, but where am I going to go? I just happened to land on number 1, Executive Dash Cartel, as my 3rd pick.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason, not to. I mean, this race is super wide open.
You can make a case for pretty much anybody if you needed to, right?
There are tons of contention in this race, so why not? I used Executive Dash Cartel 4th. I could have easily used him on top. He has been facing open company, and now he's facing Texas breds. That can be substantial sometimes. I went with the 5, Be True Dash, 8-1 on the line. This horse on September 20th, last time out, closed good ground, got from almost 2 lengths off with 110 yards to go to only 3/4 of a length off the winner, El Cartel, and had trouble in the race and still rallied. I'm going to give this horse a shot. Seemed to prefer the shortening up from longer straightaways to 3:30. 9, Splash of Eisenheim is going to be my second pick. This horse has had 10 tries to break his maiden, and they haven't been successful. But, his races at Gillespie were okay, I guess. I mean, this was a hard one to rank them, but I went to 5, 9, 2. Cool Mistress, I think, is at a really good level. Considering I think she has been at higher.
Just to talk about how wide open this race is. When Rick Lee put the morning line on it, you're talking about a morning line favorite of 4-1.
Yeah.
That's
very high.
Yeah. I'd take a favorite at 4-1 almost any day, right?
And Rick is completely unafraid to make a horse as short as he needs to be to make the line right. Some tracks will sort of take the easy way out, and every favorite will be 3-1. That's not the way we do it here. So when he lines a horse as the favorite at 4-1, that's saying something. On to the 8th. We got a video. Let's go back to the video machine here for Blue Capo, who is number 2 in this race. Coming up. The race coming up, not in the video race. In the video race, he's number 7. So let's swing over and take a look at the 7. Blue Capo in this particular race. We're just mainly going to show, look how speedy he is. This horse gets away really, really well here. Drifts out, looks like a little bit there maybe, but just fires right from the get-go in this spot. and will get a lead and then give it up late. He will get caught by Mr. Light and Wagon. This is a Dash for Cash Futurity trial. This was a trial that did not produce a finalist. Mr. Light and Wagon ran a really nice race, but just got up to beat Blue Capo, who was 3-1 that day. This horse made 2 different futurities at Gillespie, fires every time. I took him over the Roan Assassin, who's from the very hot Rolando Almanza barn and comes off a good trial as well behind One Incredible Hawk. So I went 2, 4, 9. Trace Evidence is another interesting one in here. This horse has had some trouble in the past. Made the Heritage Place Juvenile, had some trouble in that race. A lot of contention in this spot. It's a tough group.
Yeah,
for maidens, very tough.
We both got 2 Blue Capo on top. I mean, that was a solid race last time. I mean, all the way through this horse's PPs, he always is up there, competitive. Those 2 races at Gillespie were good for him. The only one that you didn't touch on was the 6, Lethal Rain. I mean, this was a horse that started in one of those Dash for Cash trials. Ran 3rd in that one by 3/4. Had a little bit of trouble at the start as well. Adrian Houtron sends out some good horses. I think the second start back for this horse, Lethal Rain. You're going to see this one right here, 15-1 on that morning line. I mean, fire a little bit. So I do like the 6 as well.
All right, let's move on to, what are we up to, the 9th race now? Yeah, Scratch the 1, Passionate Paris from race 9. This is an allowance. 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2 going 400 yards. Let me give you your piece of paper back. We have a new scratch in the 10th race that we'll tell you about when we get there.
That's one I got picked, too. So.
Well, I thought it might be, so I didn't want to surprise you when we got to that
Thanks
race.
for not surprising me. Now, race number 9, this allowance race right here, I think this is the best race of the night. I mean, you got some solid horses that are in this one. Number 11, BP Apolitical Cess, my top choice here. There's a lot to like about this horse. I mean, this horse has run well at Lone Star Park. It was in the Dash for Cash Derby, ran 4th in that one, was quick enough to qualify for it. You take a look at the last time that this horse ran the 400-yard distance. That was at a non-winners of 2 allowance level like this one. Ran 3rd in that race just by a neck. Horse stumbled in that one coming out of the gate. You got Manny Gutierrez aboard, Caritas. Fan favorite out here. There's a lot to like about the 11. I'm taking BP Apolitical Cess as my top choice. I'll go with the 5 and Perry's Double Down as my second selection. I mean, this horse has been running in some solid races as well. Qualified for the Rainbow Derby this year. Ran 5th in that one. Was in the All-American Invitational. Solid races for this horse against some of the best in the country. Perry's Double Down definitely looks like one that's going to finish in the mix here. And then I went with the 4 and Master Diamond Cartel as my third selection. A decent third last time at the allowance ranks. Missed by 2. Race before that was in March at Sunland Park at this 400-yard distance. Missed that one by 3/4 of a length. I think the horse can compete. I think it's going to be tough to take on that 11 and the 5, but hey, I got the 4 Master Diamond Cartel as my third choice.
I think this really does, on paper, boil down to Perry's Double Down versus BP Apolitical Cess. That doesn't mean that's the way it's going to turn out at the finish, but to me it was a choice between those 2. I lean toward Perry's Double Down. Qualified for the All-American Invitational, which is the consolation for the All-American Derby. Oatman Creek Senator is a super nice horse. This horse ran only a length and a half behind him. Had some trouble at Ruidoso this year. Made the Rainbow Derby. That was a super race as well. This horse has been facing really toughies. I give him the edge over BP Apolitical Cess, who had a really nice race over the track in both his trial and the final of the Dash for Cash Derby. Behind that, it's a bit of a mash-up, or that's not right the word, but a bit of a toss-up. I took the 3 Mella's Miracle just because I was really, really impressed with his opening day race here. Obviously taking a gargantuan jump in class, but I would keep an eye on him. Tough spot, comes off a good win. 10th race, we have a semi-pivotal scratch, even though I didn't like this mare because I didn't like the way she finished going shorter and now stretches out. But nonetheless, a lot of people were going to like her, including Rodney. The 11 Tick-Tock T is out of race 10.
All right, well, let's go with my new top selection. That's your number 8. This horse is a 10-1 morning line, Swanky Casanova. Now, I'll tell you why I like this horse. Last time out, ran at this 550-yard distance, which is a tough one, running all the way down that stretch, and won that race. That was the first win for this horse. Brian Stroud can definitely send out some winners. And I think at 10-1 with the scratch of 11 TikTok T, that just happens to be my favorite, my next logical choice in this race. Like I said, a winner last time at this distance, 10-1. I think that's worth a play. Second choice is going to end up being number 4 in Dak Attack. This horse has run that 550 yards 4 times in his career. You got to look back to 2019 to find the last time he ran this distance. But the last time he did run this distance was out here at Lone Star, ran second in that race. So something to be said for that. Has finished in the exact in 3 out of 4 at this 550-yard distance. So we'll see if he can't come back out and fire tonight at this distance here again at Lone Star. Third pick, I'm going to end up going with the number 7 and Me Just Fast. This is a horse that has been close in, the past 3 or 4 races, at least 2 of the 3. I mean, within a length or so. I think there's something to be said for that. Does have one race at this distance. I always think this 550 yards running all the way down that stretch, it's always nice to have a horse that is actually running a race this far.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that can't translate into a good finish for the 7, Me Just Fast.
I've got him on top, 10-1 on the line. Love the way he finished last time, going 400, now stretches out. Does have 550 experience as recently as 2 months ago at Retama, and was favored in that race, even though he was beaten almost 2 lengths. It wasn't exactly something to brag about, but he was favored. But that means people liked him going in. And he wasn't favored. He was 7-2. He was well bet, not favored. So I think he's going to be able to handle a distance, I would think. So I'm going with Me Just Fast, taking a little shot, because I really didn't like TikTok T that much. I didn't think she finished that well, going shorter, stretches out. But now we don't have to worry about her. I also am not crazy about the Blue Maverick, even though I think he may come up and bite us all. But he just doesn't do enough with his opportunities and is well established at this non-winners of 2 level. So I went with Dak Attack as a second pick as well. Clearly likes the 550, and then Swanky Casanova as a third pick. The 11th race, 400 yards, good optional claimer in this one. Some really nice horses in here, stakes types, and especially in the case of Mr. Dillard.
Yeah, Mr. Dillard, my top choice. I mean, was in a Heritage Place Derby this year, the Black Gold 440 at Will Rogers. A lot to like about this horse. I think there's that the level of competition that he's been running against. I mean, if you look at the trial for the Heritage Place, he ran up against Trump My Record. It was a solid Heritage Place Derby for the horse, too. I mean, was beaten by 1 3/4. Yeah, he's a favorite in that race. I just think there's a lot to like about Mr. Dillard. I mean, this horse has already won, $164,000 in his lifetime. But there's some other horses in here that have won a lot of money, too. My second choice, I'm going with one that's the number 2 horse and One Sweet Merlot. Ran in the stakes at Delta last time, a small stakes, finished 6th in that one. But if you look at the races before that, I mean, an allowance company had a couple wins earlier this year, a solid 4th, 2 starts back just by half a length. Once you get up to winning 7 races lifetime, there's not a lot of places that you could run.
Exactly.
I mean, you got to find a race that fits for you. I think this is one that One Sweet Merlot might thrive in. So we'll see if this 400 yards here at Lone Star and this optional claiming can't treat this horse well. And then my third pick, I'm going with the 12 horse on the outside, Winterbrook. Winner 2 of the last 3 races, so always like horses that can win, including one out here just a couple of weeks ago at Lone Star, won it by half a length. So this is the first time that this is going to face horses that have won 4 or more, a lot of them here in this race. So we'll see if Winterbrook from the outside, I think it's going to be tough, but I do think this horse can hit the board.
Oh, I agree. I went with Mr. Dillard. There's some questions about him. First time facing older. First time with Michael Joyner. Trainer change always introduces a new element to the equation, and has been off since May. But if he's ready to fire, I think he's the best in here. I've got him on top over What a Flash, the 9. This horse was really competitive against Stone Cold Leader, who just happens to be in the refrigerator a week from today. And even though that refrigerator came up extremely tough, Stone Cold Leader has a shot. I mean, he might be the third or fourth wagering choice in that race, and he only beat What a Flash by a neck. So What a Flash, my second pick. One Sweet Merlot, in my opinion, gets tested for class here. He does have 7 wins. He is 6 years old. You know, it's not easy to win races in Louisiana. I'm going to have to see one, though, to see him step with these, but he could run very well. On to the 12th. Wrap it up here as we're down to the last minute or so. The 4, Kiss My Axle, is out. Maiden special weights here, going that elongated 550.
Yeah, I ended up on the 7, Ghost Bear. I think this horse has got a pretty good shot here at this race. 2 starts back, ran this 550-yard distance, ran second in that one at Rotoma Park. Just missed by half a length. I'm taking Ghost Bear on top. Second choice is going to be the 12 and Senator Sweet. You know, last time out, finished 8th in a race. That was a Derby trial at Delta Downs. Before that, finished 3rd. A second back in November at Zia Park. I think this horse can run. I think this horse can run well, but the question mark is, can he get this 550-yard distance, especially from the outside? It's a long way to go on the outside of this racetrack. And then I went with the number 11 and Mr. Racy Eagle as my third pick. You know, this is a horse that 5 career starts, only has 1/3. That was in the maiden debut. That did come out at Los Al last year, so this horse is coming from California. You know, the last 2 races at Ruidoso have been average, I would say, at best. But, you know, trying this extra distance for the first time, we'll see if Mr. Racy Eagle likes it.
You know, yeah, I mean, this horse made the Golden State Million last year, one of the 3 big $1 million Grade 1 futurities at Los Al. And it was 41 to 1, ran like it. But still, I mean, this was a 2-year-old with promise. His 3-year-old year hasn't worked out well at all. And obviously now they're stretching him out. We might see him in an 870 someday. For that reason, I picked him second. I'm on Ghost Bear as well. A son of a thoroughbred mare, which I like when you start to get longer distances. Has a nice, energetic 660 work since his last race. Comes out of a good Dash for Cash Derby trial. I like Ghost Bear in the nightcap. Mr. Racy Eagle, whose grandmother on his dam side is the great Miss Racy Vike, who I saw in my early days at Remington Park. Was a tremendous race mare and has produced a lot of horses, so sentimental value there. And Senator Sweet, realistic level, first time with trainer Shay Cox. He could run well, who knows? Again, I think the distance is a little bit of a question there. All right. Well, that wraps it up. We are out of time. We'll look forward to your previews tonight.
All right, it's going to be a fun one.
For Rodney Nelson, I'm Jim Byers. Thanks for looking in, and good luck tonight.